super exciting. We have so many people coming in the waiting room. So we have Becca LaFew is going to be share your topic title. Becca?
Yeah, my strategy to land 45 cases in my first year as an LNC.
Crazy. When you first started as a legal nurse consultant, did you expect to land like that many cases in your first year?
I think I was like, okay, one case in the first month, and then let's do two cases for a few months. And I was like, by a year, like I think it came out to like 15, 20
Wow.
cases or something like that. That was my original goal.
That's amazing. And I just saw in one of the NLNCN channels, I believe it was the Win channel, that you just posted that you just retained a brand new attorney client. Yep.
I did, yeah, this week out of a referral from another attorney, which was huge. I didn't, I hate to say chase, but I kind of chased this
Yeah.
attorney for like 6 months. Finally got a chance to talk to him, and he's been sending cases. And then the firm reached out, said they had another case, and it was a different attorney I hopped on the phone with. So it was exciting. And then I've onboarded another subcontractor this week too. So just continuing to scale and grow. I'm excited. But the topic today is my strategy to land 45 cases in my first year as an LNC. So it's not been easy. It's been a busy year, a very rewarding year. I started, so kind of one of the biggest things I did to start was just kind of build my foundation, looking through and finding the right program for me, right way to get started, how to start a business, and just finding what would work best for me. And so that for me was choosing a mentorship program that really just helped me build my business, know how to start a business. I started with no information. I started with zero knowledge of legal nurse consulting. I guess I should say you don't have to do a bunch of programs. You don't have to do a bunch of things before starting a mentorship program or things like this. Like I came in really knowing nothing, but how the program was built, it just truly just set me up for success. Talk about it much, or if you ever do something and you feel like it may fail, a lot of times our natural instinct is to like not talk about it and like, oh, so if I fail, I had pretty big goals when I started. I started marketing, connecting with attorneys, messaging attorneys, posting, commenting, liking, sending emails out, got business cards. It was nonstop. I followed people on Facebook. I just followed like every prompt or everything that they said to do, and I took it, and then I just tried to go even further. If they said message 10 people, I was messaging 20 or 30. I mentioned in the beginning, Tatum asked if I thought 45 cases was doable in my first year, and I think my goal was like 15 to 20 in my first year. I told my husband, I was like, if I can just do that, then okay, like it'll just keep growing from there. So I think a couple of months ago, someone asked how many cases we've done in the last year, and when I actually went and counted, I was like, okay. I actually was a little surprised myself. Yeah, I didn't stop. I didn't let anything hold me back. So what I mean by that is when an attorney said no thanks, or please leave me alone, or any of those things that they may say, I just kept going. I was like, okay, great, thanks. Have a great day. Just moved on. There's a million plus attorneys out there. One attorney's not going to make or break your business. So I was like, okay, if I get this many no's, that's fine. Let's keep going. So I just kept going, and just even when attorneys aren't responding, I just keep messaging them. I landed my first case. I think it was on like my fifth message to an attorney who never responded or even read my messages. He just said, send me your CV and fee schedule to this email, and he provided an email. I sent it to him. Never have I ever talked to him again. I've only worked with this paralegal. I started this program early July, went back to work July 22nd from maternity leave. I worked an 8 to 5 job. I did work at home, but it was a pretty demanding 8 to 5 job. And a husband, I always forget to mention him. He's here too. He's a huge support of what I do. But it was hard. It took a lot of discipline. There were hard days it's busy. You get kids in bed, you just want to sleep. So I just kept pushing. By the end of my mentorship program, I had about 4 to 5 cases. I don't remember exactly, but I had gotten another attorney at that point bringing cases. And so one thing that I recommend as far as like my strategy to land 45 cases is be willing to get criticism back or to work with the attorneys. Be flexible. I sent them my sample reports from the program, and they never asked me if I was new. They never asked me how many reports I had done. I just sent it, and they liked it. When I sent them my first report, he had quite a bit of feedback as far as I hadn't really just talked with tons of attorneys, but I put in the time. I was quick to respond. I was open to any feedback. He he provided, and I gave him the work product that he wanted. Was that the same as the other attorney I worked for? No. Just being flexible and just talking to him like another human being. It wasn't the first time he sent me back an LOL in an email. I was like, okay, like this is great. Like you're just another person. And so that just reminded me, like, okay, just be myself. Like, I don't have to send this formal email every time. So we did. We just went back and forth. He said that's perfect, and like he still brings the majority of my cases to this day. So how to land 45 cases, it's you're consistent. You listen to what they say and then pay attention to those details, and you provide that work product. Was it perfect the first time? Absolutely not. He came back to me a couple times, but I adjusted, I pivoted, I provided what he wanted, and went from there. I've even changed my reports since then, and I took the time to create both styles for a few cases that I sent, and just asked him to look at it, see if that helped him. I've asked him for feedback. I've asked all of them for feedback, but just not being afraid. Again, even after we went through that initial phase and he said, this is perfect. Well, don't ever be afraid to then ask, like, hey, what could help you be better? Well, one of them sent me a demand letter and said, here's the information that I put in my demand letter. Can you use this and put this information in your report? So I did. I pivoted and added that in and kind of tailored my reports around that. And that is kind of a new style I adopted and send over. So that flexibility is huge. I think kind of veered off a little bit. One attorney's not going to make or break you. And so you just keep going, just keep marketing, keep working with those other attorneys. As far as kind of like how I marketed, who I marketed towards, I marketed towards like mid-mal, personal injury, and elder care attorneys. You can also search for healthcare attorneys or a lot of defense work, but you just kind of pick what you want to start with. If you don't know, try them all. For the most part, things are not going to just fall in your lap. So if you're going to send 10 messages and say, oh, well, nobody's read my message or responded. Well, did you send 10 more messages? Did you send 20 more messages? Did you send 100 more messages? 100 may sound daunting, but if you talk to a lot of successful LNCs out there, they're going to say, I may have sent thousands of emails. Your business and what you do to build that shows what your goals are. You have to, anybody that's going to go start a restaurant doesn't just sign the papers and be like, I'll do it here, I'll do it there. No, they put in a lot of hard work and scaled my business while I still was working. And so there's no magic number of how many cases you have to leave your job. That's everybody's own thing to figure out. But for me, I was having enough steady work to be able to do that. But what was cool is I was taught and I had access to just kind of a foundation of like how to scale my business with subcontracting and what that looks like, how to onboard subcontractors, and even just figure out, okay, if I hire subcontractors and then I'm just continuing to grow. And once I left my full-time, that opened up a big window of time for me to just continue to grow. So I'm kind of back so I've met my first year goals of leaving a full-time job, and now I have big goals for the next year just to continue to scale, get more subcontractors, get more attorneys. And so just being consistent, showing up. Don't just, my mentor always said, and I don't know if she's on this, but she always said, like, nobody's gonna die. The beauty of what we do right now is everything I do is from home. It's flexible. But more than likely, and as hard as that is, the injury or whatever's going to happen has already happened. No one's going to die on my watch. So just remembering that, like we're all, as nurses at the bedside, that it's something we're worried about all the time. But this was a different mindset of, okay, like I can step away and still meet my deadline, and it's okay to take some time for me, refresh. Use your network. If you know somebody who's a paralegal who works in a legal office, if you know somebody who knows somebody, I mean, when you start talking about it, you'll find more people are like, oh, my uncle works at this office. If you know somebody and you've not talked to them in 5 years, talk to them. And you don't have to just say, hey, I want to work. Like, you don't have to be like, I want to work together. Don't be afraid to hand out a business card in that instance or to talk to them. Networking is huge. Use your friends and family. And a lot of those are big fears in the beginning, is talking it out loud, talking to other people, networking, marketing, big things that we're not necessarily used to. But my strategy to land 45 cases, I did these things. Were they easy? No, I'm not like a super social person, or I wouldn't consider myself to be. I consider myself myself very, very awkward, generally pretty quiet. So I've had to step out of my comfort zone for sure. That's not always easy. I'm not going to sit here and say, look, I did this and you just have to do this, this, and this. Everybody's journey is going to be different, but don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Here for a reason. You have, whether you're burnout and you're looking for something more flexible, whether you love nursing and you still want to just dive into the legal side of it, we all have a reason that we're here. And so it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's okay. Just remember your goals.
I privately messaged you one if you want to click our chat. And
Okay.
I had a couple questions that I wanted you to share.
Where did my 45 cases come from? So I have now 4 attorney clients, but the 45 was from 3 attorney clients. And I have subcontracted, and I consider that part of my business as well. But these cases were from attorney clients. So I have 3 now, 3 for this 45. And then average hours per case. That's a hard question to answer because they all vary, but I would say probably 12 to 15 is the average. There are some cases that I spend less than 10. Usually those don't have merit, but the majority of my cases do have merit, and 12 to 15, sometimes 20. Most of the attorneys I work with are appreciative that we stay under the 20-hour limit, especially since we are doing the initial reviews and merit reviews. So, and that's kind of how I market myself too. I left a job in the end of the school year, so we started summer. Summer was my whole goal, was to spend it with my kids, and I got to spend a lot of time with them. In the beginning, I set my goal is 20. I thought that was a big goal and more than doubled that. And I think it just comes down to like, I took time for myself, yes, but I never stopped. Honestly, I kind of wonder like how I did it, but truly I just didn't stop. I was consistent. I followed up. I followed these steps. I marketed nonstop. I sent messages. I followed up with emails. I was willing to hop on a phone call with attorneys. I did what I'm saying. I didn't just make a list here to talk about. I truly implemented all these steps, tried to be prepared for all situations. She was huge. She was a huge help. And then I also wasn't afraid to ask for help. Starting a business, you have new things come up like accounting and you're like filing for your LLC and just things along those lines. So I really need a CPA. This is a real thing. This is my business. I don't know what's going on to a degree. That sounds bad when I say I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of new things like as far as like filing taxes and and there's not tons of business expenses, but as nurses, we know how to go through records. We have the experience. That's exactly why they're coming to us, not for the perfect report, but they're coming to us for our knowledge. And so just reminding myself that like, okay, I know I have the knowledge. I have the experience. This week, I'm just being transparent with y'all. So even Monday this week, when I talked to the new attorney, she was great. She was like super easy to talk to, but still just kind of the unknown. But just not being afraid to do that. I hopped on a Zoom call with an attorney last week. That was my first face-to-face with an attorney. And I didn't know what it was going to be like. But when she hopped on, you could tell she was at home. She had her glasses on and like she looked just fine, but she wasn't like in a business suit and all. And I'm like, okay, like immediately this guard went down. I'm like, we can just have a call. There are people too. I say that. I keep saying those things because even just like the attorney saying LOL in an email, or there may have been a few curse words in an email or something like funny, like in a funny conversation, but like just reminding you like they are truly people too. Whenever we work it up, like talking to these attorneys, they're just like us. And so that's really just helped me kind of keep going. Someone asked like, how did you land those attorney clients? So I've gotten all my business through LinkedIn, other than now this new one through a referral. But me personally have tried all the strategies except like going into an office, but primarily all mine has been through LinkedIn and messaging. Then I was just kind of reminding myself like, no, this is what I want to do. This is my career. So treat it as your business. Then at that point, that's a lot of times when people, at a church small group, we just started back for the summer and there's new people and they were like, oh, what is that? I said that. And then they started asking me questions. So in all honesty, the front desk person, whether that's on the phone, in person, when I'm talking to friends, they usually will kind of like stop me there and start asking questions. I just let them know I'm a nurse. I work with attorneys. I review medical records. And then I don't know if that really helps you, Molly. I'm sorry. Parts of my elevator pitch. I just kind of read the situation and go with it. You just call malpractice attorneys, or so you can look for personal injury. The next day I'll sit down and search another, but I try to connect with just any that I can.
Want full access to expert-led trainings, networking opportunities, and resources you won't find anywhere else? The NLNCN is the only national network built for nurses by nurses. Join today and get up to 2 months free. Click the link below to start exploring.